Hello, everyone. Welcome to Provide the Spark. We are here on Clear Sports Pulse. There is soccer going on today. We already previewed a lot of the kind of mixed martial arts scenes that are going on today and that continue to be strong storylines. So check that out earlier from our show. Well, Pete Show gave a preview earlier what the what the Champions League is going to be, and it must be said that we both said we were both on the record saying is that this will not be Real Madrid just running away with it, and that a and that this game ending up in penalties wouldn't be a complete shock. Also, we all saw that Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever they did manage to get a 1 point win. There's a lot to take from that game alone. So we will dive into that, and then also kind of what else should the Indiana Fever be doing to protect the most important player in the WNBA and for sure for their team. I think we saw some things in this game that we should all continue to look for and that they 100% learn from. But first and foremost, Champions League, the first half. So this is shaping up to be a game that is living up to what everyone expected, what everyone is hoping, and to get in in a Champions League final. There's excitement, and in some cases, in some finals, you get a sense of nerves, you get a sense of teams not really being sure of themselves. But this wasn't the case quite really. No, for the most part, right? They're not being reckless, but they're also being aggressive, particularly when they win the ball. Particularly going forward, they are doing they are doing what's needed to try to try to create chances, to try to take the opportunity. And that's something that is exciting and like what Picho and I said, there's quality on both sides, especially in the attack. Fulkrug had Fulkrug had there's the German coming out of me. He had two really clear chances that if Borussia Dortmund end up losing, I think he'll come to regret those two missed opportunities for sure. And then Adiemi had a really nice run, a dribble around Courtois, just pushed it just wide enough so that the defense had enough time to recover. But really, it's been Dortmund looking far more dangerous in the critical areas. Real Madrid has dominated possession, I'll give you that, and and this is off the top of my head, I don't know for sure, but definitely going forward, you can see that it's Real Madrid lacking that final creativity in the final third, and Borussia Dortmund, they are just looking far more dangerous, and we'll see if this ends up being a tale of two halves. I have two guests with me. Let's see what their take is on the Champions League final. E-Rock and Know Your Muffs Joe. How are you, gentlemen?
I'm gravy train. I was just sorry. I was technical difficulties, but I appreciate you having me on. Good to see you, Joe. Hope all y'all are doing well.
Yeah, good to be here.
Got new shades. $20 well spent.
Yeah, I would say that I love the show and tell, E-Rock. Looking good, my friend. Hopefully the sun continues to shine bright, unlike what I'm seeing with Real Madrid at the moment. I will say it is such a distraction for me to watch yourself in those glasses. So if you don't mind taking those off, please. It's way too much. They look cool, but it's way too much for me.
I had to show them off real quick. I'll take them off.
Oh yeah. I don't mind. Yeah. So, gentlemen, any thoughts on Champions League soccer? Today's the big day. Borussia Dortmund, Real Madrid. Either one of you want to go first in anything that you've watched in terms of this specific?
Joe, you want to start this off? Oh, Joe, I like your lighting today. It's nice and I can see your beautiful face.
I don't really I don't have too many like detailed things other than the underdog is, I gotta say, is putting out a great effort out there from what I'm looking at. Um, yeah, I'm I wouldn't be surprised if they actually, probably come out of this with a dub, just based on the effort that I'm personally seeing. Um, so I mean that stands out to me. Um, anybody's game at this point.
Yeah, for sure. Nil-nil, as some countries say, 0-0, and, if you don't wanna offer anything specifically on soccer, Iraq, that's fine. I know you've been busy, so you didn't necessarily have a chance to watch this game, so if you don't have anything, to offer on soccer specifically, just in general, like, we see it all the time where the underdog rises to the moment in championship games. So, again, if you have nothing to offer on this game specifically, like, how come we see that as often as we do?
No, I love watching soccer, especially Bundesliga, and I love watching Bundesliga, and I like watching La Liga. So no, it's all good. I can definitely. It's not. I will admit, I used to love watching Real Madrid a lot more, but it's kind of gone down a little bit now because I liked the days when it was Messi on Barcelona versus Ronaldo. And who doesn't love miss those days? But money talks, and what walks. So, or what talks. Excuse me, or you know what I mean. BS walks. Money.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know
yeah.
what you get where I'm going with. Um, no, man. Right now, and also I liked watching Gareth Bale as well. But times change, and like I said, people do that. I'm really interested right now to see the different style of play. That's really what it comes down to. Uh, Dortmund right now is really kind of taking the reins away from Bayern Munich, but they're going to be a little bit more aggressive. They're playing in a 4-3-3 lineup right now, which is going to be a lot more compact on field, or excuse me, it's actually going to spread the field out. Whereas Real Madrid has gotten a lot more on there in the 4-3-1-2, which is really putting a lot more pressure on with their strikers, I should say. Their strikers are going to absolutely going to be looking to press, or the midfield is going to be looking to press the ball down the field. Look for that cross, that crossing. Excuse me, I'm used to saying football, the crossing route. Excuse me, but looking for the crosses, looking to get as many corners as they can because they're going to try and get the headers. They're going to be it's going to be a different style of play. Right now, it's still 0-0, 47 minute. So I'm surprised how low of a scoring game this is, but that speaks, I think, more to uh, Dortmund's. Like I said, they're more defensive style of play, and also the way a Bundesliga uh, varies from La Liga and their yeah their styles. That's what I got.
No, absolutely, and as if on cue, the stadium is clouded in smoke, likely from a fan or two, maybe more. But speaking of cloud, and speaking of maybe overcompensating, did you gentlemen get a chance to watch today's Chicago Sky Indiana Fever game? Because there's a lot to take up from it. But before we comment on this game specifically, I have said the WNBA has more storylines, and as a product with them, right? Obviously with Caitlin Clark, but even other storylines, there are other narratives outside of Caitlin Clark too that I'm enjoying the WNBA period, regardless. For sure, the regular season WNBA more than the NBA regular season. So go ahead. Let's comment first on the Chicago Sky and and any aspect that you kind of wanted that you saw in this game, particularly Camila Cardosa makes her debut. Go ahead, Mr. Joe.
Yeah, I mean, close game throughout. Um, I think Carter gave him really good minutes. Very stout there for the Sky. 19-6-4. Definitely a key. That bench very key for the Sky, even being in it there. I think the starters had uh, their plus minuses were all negative, as opposed to the bench. Um, what I'm seeing as far as Clark's concerned, again, still like impacting the game. You got to figure at some point the shot's going to fall a little bit more consistently, right? But 2 for 9 from three, not exactly the most efficient. So um, I personally can't wait till we see, Cardoso and Reese there more consistently. I mean, they were brought in there to be a kind of Twin Towers situation, dominate the boards, get their squad second chances more consistently, which will help them. Um, but yeah, I mean, 2-8 team, the Fever, kind of disappointed if you're the Sky, um, to let that one slip away.
Mr. E-Rock.
Yeah, this was oh man, it definitely is. This was everything that was advertised. It was very aggressive. This was and which is funny because I would have thought that the aggression and the chippiness of the game would have favored Chicago, which it I think actually, but finally Indiana, the supporting cast, such as it is, finally stepped up. And, they actually finally came out and showed support to CC right now. And the scoring was a lot more. It was a lot more spread out. This is why the Indiana team won the game. And I'll hit you with quick number stats. Oh well, number stats kind of redundant. I won't even tell you who they are because you'll have to guess who it is basically. 17, 10, 18, 10, 11. Which of those numbers do you think was CC? It's a random, I mean, it's not even a rhetorical question, which
Are those the point totals?
just point totals. Yeah. And this is like Indiana.
Well, I know because I looked at the box score, so I'll let Joe
Okay.
go.
I mean, I have the box score in front of me.
All
so
right.
I'm
Well,
looking at
either
the-
way, who would you think?
I mean,
All right, I should say this. If you didn't look, who would you think? Which of those numbers do you think CC was?
I would have thought she was towards the bottom before looking at the box score, just because I know that she's been inefficient offensively. So, for me, I would have assumed somewhere towards the bottom,
She's
just
their
based
leading.
off of that.
Well, she's their leading scorer throughout the season, to point total wise or average. So I mean, but either way, in this game, I thought that's where actually. And the funny thing is, she she obviously, and she's also their leading assist person. She has. We all know the answer. It's 11. She had 11 points, but she had 8 rebounds, which is a little bit out of her comfort zone, or at least is different than what we're used to. But my point is that the minutes, well, granted, only 3 players came off the bench. And Wheeler is the only one that had 20 minutes. Other than that, the points were absolutely spread totally even. The assists, other than CC having 6 or excuse me, yes, 6. Everyone played their part. That's how this is the recipe for Indiana to win the rest of the season.
Yeah, so we're both getting ahead of ourselves. Wanted to
But we're
focus
talking about the Sky.
on
But
Sky.
sorry,
Yeah, 'cause, no worries. So let's reel it back into Sky because I have some other thoughts on Indiana Fever specifically. For the Chicago Sky now, so Angel Reese breaks that rookie record in terms of offensive boards. I mean, it's clear that she's a professional level rebounder. Uh, Still rushing her offense, in my opinion. But the Chicago Sky, in particular, from their guards, they were bullying Caitlin Clark, but at times it went beyond gamesmanship, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, first of all, Chicago Sky, I think in the front court they have really nice size advantage that they should try to look to take more advantage of going forward. But is this going to be a one-off in terms of what Chicago Sky did to try to throw Caitlin Clark off her game? Or is this a trend that we're going to see? What do you think you are?
I think this is going to be not it's not going to be constant, but it's not going to be uncommon, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's going to happen here and there because there is still resentment on within several organizations. I'm sure there's going to be players off and on. the enforcers are going to enforce, and she's going to be the absolute spotlight of the enforcement. So, and she acted a little bit, but it was still a body check. It was a blindside body check, and and Angel Reese and her already have history, but I don't think her and Reese really did that. I mean, they were chippy, but it wasn't like anything we weren't
Right.
used to. But some of the dirty plays, yeah, that's gonna happen. It's and I still think it's stupid because I saw someone that recorded it on Facebook, and I'm not going to repeat the exact words because PC here. Uh, but he essentially he said, um, "Yeah, fly commercial, chick." I'll say chick. Yeah, chick, fly commercial. I'm like, oh come on, now that's just mean. That's just mean. This is what I'm saying. Like some people are are ignorant. They just ignorant. Like, okay, fine. So fly commercial. Okay, fine. She's the one that's getting the rest. She's not the only one, but she's one of the pioneers that's getting the rest of the league uh charter flights. So, and you wouldn't say that to an NBA. I'm like, you know what? You're a Chicago Bulls fan. You bitter self. Your team sucks, and I guarantee you actually wouldn't say to them fly commercials. So this is going to absolutely continue. People are going to resent her from fans to that. But you know what? She's getting you to watch. The fact that you're even watching WNBA, and I mean, you can thank Angel Reed and her and everyone else. So, people need to get off their high horse, and it's going to continue for sure.
Mm. Um, with the Chicago, right? So Caitlin Clark struggled for a lot of this. And again, I have a little bit of a theory in terms of what the Indiana Fever need to do, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Mhm.
Joe, did the Chicago Sky, is this the blueprint? Will other backcourts be able to do what they did to Caitlin Clark? Or was this just a one-off, like Caitlin Clark kind of struggled from Green particularly today?
I don't know why this is a surprise. This has been happening all season.
Mhm.
This is going to continue to happen. I don't know why everybody has this mentality that everybody's supposed to be kissing the ring, so to speak, when it comes to Clayton Clark coming into the league. She hasn't done anything here. So, in all actuality, and maybe people can argue with, um, the old school knocking the new school with how Tarasi approached what she said about Caitlin Clark coming into the league. But what's happening?
I
Let
agree with you.
What's happening? So, I think people should hush up on that noise because what exactly was the heart of what Tarasi was saying about Caitlin Clark entering the league is exactly what's playing out.
Yeah,
So, um, with all that being said, whether it's the blueprint or not, the hope from the Fever is, and the reason why she was selected number one overall is the fact that they're hoping that she figures it out. Um, you know the you see everything that's happened with her in college basketball IQ, skill, everything that's in her favor, winning. Um, your hope is that all that put together, at some point she does figure it out. And we touched on this on a previous show as far as the Olympic break coming up and what my personal expectations were, as far as her second half of the season is going to be telling for me, as far as what her play looks like consistently.
mhm,
um, I think once you remove yourself from all that action and you have time to kind of like dissect how the first half of the season's gone, how what are the positives, what are the negatives, things of that nature. um I'd be very interested to see what her play is, how she adjusts to what people are throwing at her, given that time to really assess the situation and attacking the second half of the season with a lot of energy. But as far as what's being done to Caitlin Clark, it shouldn't be a surprise, and it shouldn't really be looked at it that closely because I don't think she deserves kiss the ring treatment when she just got there. Um, the girls are playing hard, and they're going to continue to play her hard, and you could tell on a game-to-game basis what the practice was leading up to the game. What they I look at that 2-8 record, and you know what I say? I see the opposing teams understanding the assignment. That's what I see.
I
Hmm.
don't know what it is, Joe. I like when you say that phrase, the assignment, or I understood the assignment. I don't know what it is when you say that. But for the Indiana Fever now, all right, we're 20 minutes and we'll let the thumbnail force out the bag. What what we saw late, it was either late third or early fourth, was Caitlin Clark went down with an injury.
Hmm.
Like, I didn't say anything malicious in terms of that's not a basketball fight. It's gonna happen. But her usage rate is through the roof right now. And I think it'll behoove this Indiana Fever team to not have her always be for 40 minutes to be the primary ball handler. We saw her move to more off the ball into more of a traditional shooting guard role. And we saw others get more involved. And we saw her not laboring through the rest of the game. And so, in terms of the actual score, right when she went out, they were up by one. They ended up winning by one. So I don't know if that adjustment will necessarily lead to more winning. I think it's largely going to be a zero-sum game at this point in terms of winning, just because of where this Indiana team is. But take a little pressure off of Caitlin Clark, even if it's for the equivalent of one quarter. She doesn't have to be the primary ball handler. You're still going to sell out arenas. And teams are going in knowing that they're going to double Caitlin Clark or make her life a living hell. If there are periodic possessions where she's just standing in the corner or moving off the ball, waiting for a catch and shoot opportunity, that's going to unlock so much in the offense, and more importantly, preserve Caitlin Clark that much longer for this season in particular. What most likely be a lost season. That's how I view it, and I think they saw a little more team success overall. And Caitlin Clark looked a hell of a lot less frustrated. But E-Rock, I'm using you as my benchmark here in terms of all opinions. What do you think?
I'm flattered. Well, let me quickly respond because it's a perfect segue. I do totally agree with Joe. I do not think people should just kiss the ring of Caitlin Clark. I don't think so. She's gonna have growing pains the same way that everyone else is, same way that Angel Reese is, the same way that everyone else is, same way that Becker's gonna have to next year. And it's not like I don't think it's too saying that they've won 2 games is saying like they've kind of got the blueprint. They've drafted number 1 2 years in a row for a reason. They suck. They suck. And so like it's not like there was much of a blueprint to really do. There's like one player, maybe Aaliyah Boston would be like the only other, but she's not even playing that well. I agree with you 100%, Gabe, about she needs to not be the primary ball handler when it comes to a half court offense. Now, fast breaks, that's totally different.
Yes,
She has her best
yes.
moments in transition with assists. That's when she does assists the best. But primary ball handler, I agree. I think her best games have been when she's off the ball and she's going off the screens. Or she can create she can create her own shot. She can do it with ball handling, but right now I think you're right about the usage rate. And the injury is luckily not serious, doesn't look like. But she's gonna get dinged up, and they're gonna really mess her growth up if they keep putting her as the primary. Christy Wallace needs to be their primary ball handler, bringing up the court, and they need to get more screens on the back end, or at least on the baseline. Need to let her run off of them, create her shot, or at least get her to some like through the lane kind of ball handling to where she can kind of figure it out, and maybe she catches it and she has the idea to, all right, 3 things. What do you do? It's like what my coaches told me and what I tell my players. You get the ball. What do you have? 3 options. What is it? You look for the assists,
Oh,
dribble and look for it, or you shoot. And you don't hesitate. You literally you get it, and you have like 1 second to assess the situation. Do I have an open man? That's the first thing you look for. Second thing is, do I have a shot? And then the next thing is, all right, let me dribble, calm it down, and then you move the ball. That's the 3 options you have. But and that's what she's good at. So just let that be the
Yeah.
case. But I think that is absolutely that's why Christy Wallace needs to be not unless it's fast break needs to be the primary ball handler. But they have no bench. I told you the numbers. Only one of the bench players. There's 3 bench players that came off, and only one of them had 20 minutes exactly. The rest had unders, had single digits. I mean, that's tough. That's tough. So the usage rate is going to have to continue, unfortunately. But that's why what you said is paramount, and they need to let her go off the ball. I agree with that.
And one more thing, Joe, before we let you back on here, I forgot to mention. At one point, they put Melissa Smith at the 5, which I don't mind offensively, but defensively, oh my God, that was such a mistake. And I love Melissa Smith, I do. But defensively, I wonder at most guarding the other team's 4, ideally the 3, right? Because she's someone who can switch one through 4 comfortably, 1 through 5 absolutely needed. But to have that be what your defensive game plan was for those possessions, especially against the Chicago Sky team. I mean, they crawled back into it when it looked like they were about to run away with it potentially. This was like this was early in the second quarter, I believe, if memory serves.
You're
So
right.
that cannot happen again. Melissa Smith, love her, but she's going to be best at the small forward, at a forward position, or even guarding the other team's twos. And then offensively, I don't mind posting her up. I think she's more than fine there, gutsy player. But defensively, good God, I do not want to see that again. Help her out, put out another big. But go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Well, I mean, Smith and Boston both had 5 fouls, so
That's true too.
clearly, clearly we need to be able to defend without fouling. As far as
Once I tell my players, I love it.
can you repeat the prompt for the question again, if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. Basically, right, Caitlin Clark's going to get a lot of minutes, but she shouldn't be the primary ball handler for 40 minutes. That to me, that's no good. And she needs to have others be more incorporated in the offense to take some of the pressure off of her. This will have other opponents not be able to only target her, and her playing more as a traditional 2 guard, I think is going to help this team long term and help her development long term. Her being the only ball handler isn't going to lead to wins anyway, and I think it's hindering the team's growth and her development.
Well, I have one simple stat that supports all of that. She leads the league in turnovers. She's averaging over 5.5 turnovers a game. So that stat alone should be evidence, that coupled with their record should be evidence that that particular part of the game plan is not working. And I looked at some of the others that lead the league in assists up there, because I believe she's 4th, but I believe there's like 3 other people ahead of her, including Jackie Young. None of them are over 4 turnovers a game. And for her to be at almost 6, while having others, with a higher assist number, like their turnover to their assist to turnover ratio is much higher than hers. But I mean, part of that's being a rookie. Part of that is the league, again, not kissing the ring with her being in there, being physical, picking her up full court, forcing her into mistakes. And then some of those is, just, again, rookie. So that combined with the physicality that she's entering, that's kind of like that whole deal. Now, are they helping her with the exposure to those situations? Probably not. If they're making her the primary ball handler for 95.9% of the game, that's increasing her exposure to that. And to kind of bring back a throwback on something that Patrick Beverly said during the season. Yeah, if you have the ball X amount of times, yeah, you're gonna get double digit assists. Well, if you have the ball X amount of times, you're bound to make mistakes with it. So, the more you have the ball, the more you can either increase your assist total, but just as much you're gonna also increase your exposure to turning it over. So with that being said, obviously it would behoove them to have someone else sharing that responsibility, if only to make her a more efficient player. But also, I find that when you don't have the ball and you're coming off the ball, you see a lot more of what the action is, what the defense is doing at the ball handler, and it offers you a perspective that you
Yeah.
don't see when you're on the ball because the action's on you. This is another reason why I think it's really imperative, what she does. Now, I don't know if you want to assume she's going to be going to Paris. You
Yes.
would think that the hope is that obviously her being her and what she's done for women's basketball, that she does get the invite. But at the same time, like during this break, and then coming back from it, having that perspective outside of being on the court, because you can watch film all you want, but usually I'm not a professional athlete, so I can't really speak to it, but usually the film work that you're looking at is really mainly um you're focused on the next opponent, you're focused on what's going on, what you're leading in. I don't know how much time you're spending on the game that just happened as opposed to the game that's coming because of limited practices in between, things of that nature. So I don't know how much time you're spending during the week looking back at what happened as opposed to moving forward. This is why I think that break will be important to, at least have some time where she's looking back at the season and like, okay, what's happening? What am I doing? What is the team doing? Just having the not being in the fire perspective, but actually looking at it um and being able to dial in as to how she can improve, I think will be very important for her in the second half.
I wanna dive because I didn't for some reason, in my head, at least, the Olympics seems like it's 5 years away. Newsflash, it's every 4 years, but also it's right around the corner. So let's actually dive into Caitlin Clark and her being, should she be on the Olympic team or not? But, before that, it's a rare opportunity where I could speak to something that you asked, Joe, and that's film session. So it depends on the coach, obviously, or what their emphasis is. But you can have an all of the above approach. So yes, obviously there are times where you watch film where it's to scout the next opponent. You can also watch film just to look at your own tendencies, and especially at the professional level, you have certain tells. So you're kind of looking for what weaknesses you have, and then if you have certain tells, then what that next step is, so that you can set up your opponent for when, okay, so I know I do this, so if I do this time, I'm gonna set him up and this will be my next move. So it's not an all or nothing with film session at all, and it largely depends on whatever the coach slash the player is trying to emphasize in that particular film session. So film session is, me personally, film session is a 365 gig. But that's just me personally. But anyway, E-Rock, Caitlin Clark, U.S. women's national team Olympic side, yay or nay?
I don't see why not. I mean, even the men's team usually, I don't know about this year, but usually the men's team will at least have one, maybe two college players come on there. I don't see why a rookie couldn't be on there, especially when she's going to be drawing that much more attention. Much more attention that she literally embodies. Is like she's why is Kyrie not on the Olympic team? Because it's not because of his talent. It's because it's also a PR thing. So look at the vice versa of that. Caitlin Clark is. Why do you think people like? Why do you think they try to market her so much? Yes, she's entertaining to watch, but she's also clean cut. She's modest and well spoken. So it's the same thing that it's like the opposite of why they wouldn't put Kyrie on the team, on the men's team. So yeah, I mean, I don't. Should they do it for talent perspective? I don't see why. Yeah, why wouldn't you? She won't start, or she shouldn't start because they're better, more deserving players right now. But she should be on the bench, at least coming off the bench, and it's good PR. And I know they're going to do it anyway. It's a matter of just time. I'd be shocked. I would literally be shocked. I would bet $100 to y'all both if she was not selected on the team. I would be genuinely shocked. I'd be shocked if Angel Reese wasn't on the team. I wouldn't bet the money on it compared to Caitlin Clark, but I'd be shocked though.
Right. Either way, I think, and one more point to that, Rock, before we let Joe back in here. I don't know why I'm phrasing it like that today, but either way, moving forward. Usually you want to have a younger player anyway, so that their first actual Olympic experience, right, they get more ingrained in the team and to someone who is most deserving, like Anthony Davis with that London team, for example.
Yeah.
So for sure, there's precedent. It wouldn't be unreasonable, and she would be deserving, and or Angel Reese would be deserving. At this point, just in terms of an impact, I would definitely give the nod to Caitlin Clark in terms of what the team needs. But either way, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, you will. I'd be more in favor of that than having a lifetime achievement award spot being given. So like if it's a choice between say like Diana Taurasi and Caitlin Clark, I would rather see Caitlin Clark in there. Just to give an example of what I mean by that. So if you want to grow the game on a global level, this is one of those ways that you do it. You do it in the Olympics, you do it in the World Games, Pan Am Games, this sort of any kind of like international FIBA type situation. This is how you do it. And a lot of the kind of like major reasons why you saw so many of the people from the W going overseas was money wise, right? But you could argue that also helped grow it by their participation in international leagues. Now with the advent of the league that Stewart kind of is spearheading, how many more opportunities to do that? Like I feel like the focus is finding ways to grow the game, not just globally, but in house. How many more players are going to continue to go out to these leagues with more opportunities now being available at the homestead? I think that's important to note. This may be one of the constant mainstay opportunities for them to grow the game outside of the U.S. So you would want someone who's at the forefront at growing the game, especially and recency bias obviously has something to do with it, but you see the numbers. You see the viewership in the college basketball season. I think even the draft, like they're being watched more, and it would be just roster malpractice not to have her on the team, giving everything that she has done leading up until this point. And the expectations wouldn't really, depending on how that roster is constructed, the expectations wouldn't really be that high for her because she won't be the focal point. She'd be in a very cush situation because they're not going to ask her to do the things that the FIFA are asking her to do.
Yeah, we get she can carve herself a Klay Thompson role. I'm all for it, and I think she would do well in that kind of role. A quick follow up for you, Joe. What about E-Rock's suggestion of even an Angel Reese? I'm all for it. I know there are only so many roster spots, but if it somehow comes to fruition, what about Angel Reese on this year's Olympic team?
I mean, I wouldn't be against it. I just, the front court talent in the league right now, like your Alyssa Thomases, your Brianna Stewart's, it's front court is pretty loaded. Uh, can you get two of those type of players in? Well, it's a 12 person roster, right? So basically, that's two spots you'd have to go super young in. I don't know if there's two spots for that, but I will say as far as swag, as far as confidence, as far as a figure that a lot of eyes have been on in college basketball, she'd fit also. I mean, one could argue that she got that level attention, maybe not to Clark's level, but I mean still significant, just based on how she spoke of her last season in LSU. She felt like she was a very visible figure, that eyes were on her, things were said, all that kind of jazz, to where it made it like a semi miserable experience. So that's I mean that's another figure that evidently is very polarizing, and eyes are on. If you're gonna kind of like build the W brands in the global scale, you could definitely do worse than having Reese on the team as well.
Yeah, so I think we all agree we need to expand the rosters to about 20, so then we can have Cameron Brink on there as well. Erock, really nice outside the box thinking there. All kidding aside, putting Angel Reese on there, really nicely done.
Thank
Um,
you. Much obliged.
right, it just so obviously 20 would be too many, but 12 feels like too few for this exact reason. But anyway, I asked you this, Joe, earlier, so now I'm asking this to you, Rock. But by all means, if you have something additional to add, right? We've had more data since I asked you first. Rock, I think Caitlin Clark is shooting at a professional level. Like, and by that I mean above average. Like, it's clear, like she's really good at that at a WNBA level. This is something that she can kind of hang her hat on. Cameron Brink is defending the rim at a pro level,
Mhm,
and Angel Reese is just grabbing rebounds on the
mhm.
grass at a professional level. So that those are the 3 specific aspects that have really impressed me in all 3 of those people's games. Just in general, any other thoughts on the WNBA or anything else that we should be looking for that maybe people aren't talking about?
Um, yeah, and again, well, I don't have and again, I don't have an issue with what Joe said earlier, and 'cause I think that welcome, a quote Will Smith here, Independence Day. Welcome to Earth. That's what that's what it is like. Welcome to the W. Welcome to the dub. I mean, I'm fine with those moments. That body check kind of nonsense, though. I mean, you're gonna get rough fouls. I don't care. So then dish it back out. I don't care. But I mean, you get body checked when you're not looking. That's just bull, bull hockey. We'll call it. We're bull hockey, which just means bulls going out and playing hockey. Obviously, it's a fun sport. Everyone should check it out. It's, I think it's not a surprise. You know, my thing is, I'm not surprised by Cece taking shots. You know what? Shooting from long distance, from like ridiculously long distance, as Steph Curry translates to any level. I'm not surprised at dang, why did I just blank on her name? Not Angel Reese, the third lady. The
Cameron
third.
Brink?
Yeah, thank you. Cam not nothing she's doing surprises me. Um, 'Cause she's really good at defense. I'll tell you what always amazes me. You know how tall Angel Reese is, and it's not rhetorical. Man, I'm sure y'all do. Just tell the folks how tall she is. She's. Oh, I thought you probably knew. Okay, my bad. 6'2". She's 6'2". She's not that tall. I mean, for a woman, a grown woman, that is, for the average height of a woman, a female, that is tall. But for the WNBA, that's not that tall. And for the number of rebounds she gets, she is a tough lady. And she's still continuing to get the rebounds even at this level. That actually is the most impressive of the three ladies of the stats that they're excelling in. That is actually the most impressed I am with that. So I got to give her flowers. If I'm going to give Cece her flowers, I got to give I got to give the respective flowers to Angel Reese. So it's very, very crucial. Now, I love the fact that this was so heavily viewed. This is just everything I've been reiterating, and I've been banging into the ground. I'll keep doing it. Doing it. I'm making up my own words here. Doing it is that this is great. The rivalries are great. The personalities are great,
Yeah.
and it's going to continue. And chippiness is great. Keep it going. And I'm bringing CC. You know what got NBA? to an international level. And this is not comparing anyone. I'm not invoking his name. This is just the comparison that would happen when the Dream Team went. Michael Jordan, if you watch the ESPN and Netflix special on the dance, is that Michael Jordan being in that's what got the Like Mike movement. That's what got international stuff happening. That's where we got the Dirk Nowitzki's. That's where we got the like God, all the Croatians and the Lithuanians and German. Like it's just a matter of in French. They got it internationally known. Having Cece over there with her marketability and Angel Reese with her personality can only help and benefit the game from because the Olympics are almost pageantry just as much as they are actually about competition, which is whether you like it or not, it's just a fact. It's politics, pageantry, along with competition. Politics, pageantry, and pride. Triple P. There you go. So we'll go with that. So yeah, that's where I got to go with it. But nothing but positive things, though.
Oh, and I didn't know if you were asking or if it was rhetorical. Either way, I didn't know it was 6'2" off the top of my head. So either way, thank you.
I had to look. I had to look one time because I noticed her. When she was at LSU. I noticed that she was getting a bunch of rebounds, and I'm just like, she doesn't look that big. I mean, she's full. She's filled out, like she's strong, but she's like not big. It's not tall. So I was like, I asked Siri, how tall is Angel Reese? And it's just like she's 6'2". I'm like, really? She's like an inch taller than me. Wow. She's getting mad rebounds. For her.
I think the average height is right 5'6" for a woman, 5'7", something like that.
5'6".
So your point stands.
5'6", 5'7" is about right. 5'9", 5'10" for a male is about average.
Yeah. So tall woman, not a tall basketball player. Hell of a competitor. Go ahead, Joe.
Beast mode.
Yeah, he kind of went all over the earth there. Could you remind me the prompt? Specifically
yeah, he asked me a vague question. He asked me just in general my thoughts about the WNBA and how what I've thought about it.
All right. Well, staying with the W, I think going into this season, a lot of people at large would have thought that this was just going to be strictly a Liberty and Aces league and that we were destined for that rematch. Can we shout out the Connecticut Sun right now? They have not lost a game yet this season, and I think they probably felt some type of way about people going into this season talking about Caitlin Clark coming in and she may dominate the league and the Aces are probably going to repeat, or the Liberty just brought the same group from last year and they were just going to dominate the league. They've done nothing but not lose a game, and I feel like no one's talking about them right now. So I wanted to shout them out, give them love. Give them love. Is Alyssa Thomas going to average a triple-double this season? She's currently averaging almost 15, 9, and about 9. And I think some light needed to be shed on that because they're firmly in the belief that this is not just going to be an Ace and Liberty penned in for the finals at the end of the season. So that's something that I wanted to shine a little light on.
But definitely pin the Aces to three-peat. Definitely pin that. Definitely, the Aces are just absolutely just ridiculous. Even if people are gunning for them, that team is just like it's an all-star team.
And I love that, Joe. I love how the Connecticut Sun play. Hate their name. I'm very much anti singular names for a mascot, but we'll dissect that on another day.
That's a great topic.
E-Rock, we got to get out of here. Anything else to plug? Final thoughts, preferably just something related on Earth, as Joe so eloquently put. But if not, no worries. Go ahead, E-Rock, you first.
I'm actually going to carry that. You know what? I love that segue. I'm carrying that over to shout out, and this is perfect segue to shout out to Scoutcast Media. Today is not Paint to Paint. It is a new show that has just been created because it is general sports. And you know what? I'm not even going to tell you all the name yet because I'm going to surprise you, but I'm saying it's still under Scoutcast Media Hub. Living at 09 is where you find me. If you want to find me, like Tupac, find me. We all know Tupac's alive. Just shout out. And I love it. I'm carrying that subject of team names in non-plural. That's a great point. I'm putting that in. I'm putting that in the lineup. That's happening. Okay.
I mean, by now you both know I have certain pet peeves and stuff that drives me absolutely insane, and that's one of them. E-Rock, thank you for
Are you
your
sure?
yeah,
What kind of pet peeves are you talking about, bro?
yeah. Having to look at myself in your eyes is one of them.
Oh, I was like, in
No,
my
but E-Rock,
eyes.
kidding aside, thank you for your
That's it.
time. Nice
That's it.
outside
No,
the
and
box thinking today, E-Rock. Nice job.
thanks,
Go
man.
ahead, final.
Thanks, man. I'll see y'all soon. And Joe, by the way, on what you said, I 100% agree with that. And it's going to be, I would love to see someone different, but I definitely think the Aces are in it. But I'll see y'all soon, man.
See you soon, E-Rock. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, update. Real Madrid is up 2. So you could just probably just wrap that up in a bow. Unfortunately, the underdogs are not going to be able to get it done. Goes to show you that doesn't matter how much you possess the ball or how much of the field you're covering. If you can't put the ball behind the net, you can't win the game. So shout out to Real Madrid. Um, you can find me at Java Joe Sports on the X. More often than not, you'll find my opinions there. More often than not, you'll probably disagree with them, and that's fine. I love living on the island that I live on. I love living. I just love my own space. So to be honest with you, maybe half my takes are for that reason. The fact that I don't want people to jump aboard my particular bandwagon. And then also, um, two thoughts I want to leave you with. Two quotes that I have just basically lived my whole life on is one of them is if it's free, it's for me. And secondly, there's nothing that I love more aside from lasagna and cheesecake is being right. So that all being said, again, I can tell you know where to find me. Link to my writing profile is on there, and go sports, man.
Love that. Joe, see you later. See you a bit. In a bit, pardon me. See you later, Joe.
Later.
Yeah, and before we sign off here, it just goes to show Borussia Dortmund, and this is true for soccer, this is true for any team, especially the underdog. You have to take advantage of your opportunities when they come. Borussia Dortmund, 2 golden chances in that first half to at least put the pressure on Real Madrid. They allowed Real Madrid back into the game, let them hang around long enough. Quality teams, quality players will find a way if you leave that door open. So this is true for Dallas Mavericks and Boston Celtics. This is true for Verstappen. It doesn't matter. When you have that opportunity, when you have that moment, you have to seize it. And we're going to see some more right here soon on Scoutcast Media Hub, right here on YouTube. Shout out to Rock, shout out to Joe. And we will see you soon. Until tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.